There we go. We're off.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Sharon Winget, and I'm a member and admin at the International Amateur Street Photography Group, otherwise known as IASPG, and Streetwise, which is our subgroup for learning where we work closely with new photographers or those new to the genre of street. By way of background, IASPG is the only street photography group for amateurs on Facebook. We're a good-sized group with more than 63,000 members. It was founded 6 years ago by Ian Parker Moore. Before we get started, viewers, let me ask you to like and subscribe to our channel. I know people always mention this, but it turns out that it really matters. Today, here at the IASPG, we're turning the tables on our founder, Ian Parker Moore, and interviewing him. How does it feel to be in the hot seat, Ian?
Hi, Sharon. Hi, Sharon. Yes, it's very unusual. I'm used to doing the interviews. I've also done quite a few blogs, but I've never actually been questioned up to now. So I'm really looking forward to this. Thank you.
Let's start with an introduction. Tell me about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name's Ian. I'm 66 years young. I live in Manchester, UK. I'm married with two children, and I'm retired.
Are you a professional photographer, and do you or did you have a different profession?
No, I'm certainly not a professional. I like to call myself an enthusiast photographer. My profession in the past was that I was a community nurse, mental health nurse. I've been nursing for 38 years in all sorts of fields. I've done counselling, I've worked on wards and community psychiatric nurse, and I've also run nursing homes. So that was my career.
Okay, so you're not a professional photographer, but what I know of you, it's pretty much all you do all the time. Let's talk about your background in photography. How long have you been a photographer?
Oh my God! It's really since Adam was a lad back in 1983. I decided that we should go on a holiday, and we were going to go to Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. And I wanted to capture the life out there and the colors, etc. So I brought my very first camera, which was a Pritika 35mm film camera. I purchased about 36 rolls of film. We were going for 4 weeks, and I used all of that 36 rolls off. When I came back from Mauritius, I was quite pleased with the pictures that I had taken. I think now they probably end up straight in the bin, but at that time, 40 years ago, I was quite impressed, and basically I was hooked from that moment onwards. I started photographing anything, everything that moved or didn't move. My family got sick and tired of having their pictures taken. I photographed the neighbours. I photographed flowers in the back garden, and all sorts of things. Just basically anything that moved or didn't. Then I basically went to a photographic event in Aintree in Liverpool, and I was like a kid in a candy store. I wanted everything. I was interested in everything. I spent the whole day there. I came back with a long list of things that I wanted. But also while I was there, they had this catwalk where models were walking up and down it, and I was fascinated. And basically, I thought, yeah, that looks an interesting thing to do. So when I soon after I came back, I actually put an advert in the newspaper for Models Wanted, which you're not actually allowed to do anymore, strange enough. And surprise to me, I actually got 4 people interested. So I'd never done any fashion. I never worked with models before. This was something completely new to me. And basically, my idea initially was that we could actually work together and learn together. So I started working with these models, and we went out sort of every other week. We went to beaches in Wales. We went to waterfalls. We went to forests. We went to studios, all sorts of things, just to get interesting pictures. And then basically one day, a photographer heard that I was going to waterfalls, and he said, "Can I come?" So I thought, "Yeah, why not? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you can come along." So he came along. He thoroughly enjoyed it, and then a little switch went in my head, and I thought I could actually do something with this. So I actually started advertising for photographers, and at its height, we had 42 members. They all paid subscriptions. We did sessions with models every month. In the summer, we went outside somewhere. In the winter, we went to studios. So we obviously paid the models, and anything left, I took. So I was beginning to earn a bit of money. Sometime during that, I actually built my own studio. We converted the garage. It was, I think most garages in the UK are about 8 foot, 7, 8 foot high, which wasn't big enough because I couldn't get all the lights in. So we took the roof off and we actually heightened it 3 foot so I could get all the lights in. And basically every other day, I was actually having models in there. I was doing portraits, and I did that for about 10 years. Then at some time or other, a friend of a friend of a friend came along and said, "Would you like to do our wedding?" So they'd seen all the portraits I put on 4 walls in one room, and they said, "We'd like you to do it." So I said, "I've never done weddings before." So they talked to me about it, talked to me, and I said, "Look, I'll tell you what, go away in 3 weeks' time. If you can't find anyone, then come back, and we can have a chat about it." So 3 weeks went by, and nobody came back. So I thought, "Oh well, that's okay then." 4 weeks, they came back and said, "Could you do our wedding for us?" So I thought, well, I've never done that. I'll give it a go. I mean, absolutely no experience doing weddings at all. We basically come up with a deal that I did a pre-wedding shoot where I actually took them into a park. We did some pictures, and I said, "I'll enlarge this up to 24 inches. If the pictures don't come out, I'll give you that for nothing. If the pictures come out and you like them, then you pay for it." And they agreed. They were thoroughly happy with the pictures. And then I ended up doing another one and another one and another one and another one. And that actually lasted for 10 years. And I did dozens of weddings, again, with absolutely no experience in weddings. Then basically, what then happened, somebody heard about me. His name was Vinny Palmer. He actually rang me up and said, "I'm having some difficulties with doing weddings. Can you give me a hand?" So, "Yeah, okay, come along, come on down." So we met up at the house. He came with his daughter, and my wife was there. And he gave me this portfolio. And I said, "Right, before I open it, would you like me to tell you the truth?" So he said, "Yes, of course, I want you to tell me the truth." So I opened it and I flicked through all the pictures. And I said, "You sure you want me to tell you the truth?" And he said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So I said, "These aren't very good." I mean, I did use a few more expletives, but I was very careful because his daughter was there, and basically told him they were not very good at all. So I told him what he was doing wrong. He went away. He constantly sent me pictures for me to assess, analyze, and give critique about. and he actually made quite a lot of money doing weddings. And every time he meets another photographer and I'm there, he actually always remembers that moment. And he sort of credits me with helping him doing his wedding business. He's done it for about 15 years. He had done sort of like dozens in a year, and he made quite a lot of money from it. Vinny and I actually then continued. We started doing projects and things. And me being a mental health nurse, I was actually working in a nursing home at the time. And I came up with this idea that the dining rooms were very sparse with no pictures, no colour in them. So I came up with this idea to photograph food. So we actually spent a whole weekend photographing food, from beans on toast to lobster, and we actually sold these to the nursing homes. And in a matter of 3 months, we made, I don't know, £3,000 or £4,000. So that worked quite well. We also, at one time, we went to Wales, did some whitewater rafting, well, photographing whitewater rafting. And when we finished, we actually did some pictures, and we then went and showed them to the boss there. And she said, would you like to come along and do some every weekend? So I said, yeah, I've not done that before. So we started doing that, and we did that for about 3 or 4 months. And again, we sort of made CDs on the spot, and we actually sold those CDs to the customers. And again, we made a few grand on that. I sold her a big book with all the pictures in, so she could show people what we were doing. And that was just another project we did. Then in between, we went to zoos, we did wildlife, we went to National Trust gardens, we did gardens. And then I know somewhere, I know about 8, 9 years ago, something like that, I was looking for another project, a new project. And I was on this web page, and this guy put up a message and said, we're looking for someone to come and photograph our football matches. So I thought, I've not done that before, so I'll go along. Again, I've never done it. And basically I did the first match. They were amazed by the pictures. I mean, God knows how, because I got all the settings wrong, but and 8 years later, 9 years later, I'm still doing it. And that's basically my career, or my photographic life, if you like. So basically, doors opened, and I walked through them without any experience whatsoever. So that's me.
Well, it's a very varied background, very interesting. In all that you've done, do you have a favorite type of photography or favorite subject?
Well, I guess all the topics I've done, besides the wildlife and the flowers, have actually involved people. So I guess photographing people is my favorite topic. For the past 5 years, as you know, I've been doing street photography, and I guess that's now my first love is street photography, and I love doing people, either with or without permission.
I can see how all of that has fed into your interest in creating the group too. I mean, that's why you're such a good teacher, I would say. So you are the driving force behind IASPG. When did it start, and why? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, in 2017, again, I was looking for a new project to do. And I came across this advert for a street photography course. So I didn't know what street was at the time, and so I read up about it. I read quite a lot of articles, watched a lot of YouTube, people like Eric Kim, Bruce Gilden, Mayovitz, I don't know, Martin Parr, etc. And that really got me hooked. I actually did quite a big file on all the stuff that I read, and that was before I started the course. Then I went on the course, and to be honest, I was really disappointed with the course. It didn't actually teach me anything, and I thought it was basically a waste of time and money. And at the end of the course, which I passed, I actually told them so. I didn't like the language they used. I didn't like what they were calling people. It wasn't particularly well put together, and it didn't really teach me anything. Nothing that I didn't already knew. So I started the course. When I finished the course, I was actually looking for somewhere to display them. So I went on Facebook and I looked around to find a course which I thought was suitable. Sorry, find a group that I thought was suitable, but there was no groups for beginners, or amateurs, or people starting in the genre. So I thought the only thing to do was to start my own group, which again, I've no experience in doing groups or Facebook or whatever. And I started this group, and I invited a few sort of photographic friends I had. They came on it, and then basically it spread from there. The group basically is for amateurs, people who were like I was then, people who were starting in street photography, and learning what street photography was. But we also needed to have experienced photographers as well, people who knew what it was, who were very good at it. And I think IASPG has actually got a very good mix of complete beginners and sort of more enthusiasts who could actually inspire the more beginners. So basically, that's how it started, from me going on this course and wanting to display my photos.
How does the group work? What are the nuts and bolts of it on a daily basis?
Well, obviously, it's about going for members to go out and take pictures and then upload their pictures to the group, and hopefully get good likes. It's about discussing the pictures, though we sort of fall short of actually giving constructive criticism, because in the past people haven't actually liked it and got offended by it. So that they can make remarks about it, saying it's good and all that sort of thing, but constructive criticism, unfortunately, we haven't allowed. We do a photographic competition every 3 months, which we're just about to start actually, called Masters of Street Photography. And the idea of that is for people to upload their best 2 pictures, and then we get a panel of enthusiasts, people who are experienced street photographers, to actually pick their top 10. And then we award points, 100 for every first place, etc. We put all the points together, and then we come out with a winner. The winner is invited onto the panel, just to try and keep the panel fresh. We do an interview with them, and we also put their picture in a virtual exhibition as well. So there's 1 or 2 things, and of course they get free advertising as well every time we mention them.
Do you run the group alone? Do you have help?
No, we do have admins. The admins come from all walks of life, from all over the world, and they're on at different times. They've all got their own sort of experience and expertise and things that they're really keen on, and I think that gives us a good mix. It wouldn't be right for them all to think exactly the same as me. So they all have their own thoughts and views on what street photography is, and hopefully we've come up with a list of rules that they are fairly happy with. They're not all 100% happy with everything that's on there, but they're all fairly happy, I think.
What are your favorite aspects of the group?
For me, I love to see members improve. I like to see people start on their journey as a street photographer, and then as the weeks and months go on, they improve. I love helping, I love guiding, I love educating, and I like just helping them to improve their street photography. That's what I like best about it.
Well, and I can attest personally that it has been very, very helpful to me. I know my photography has really improved since I joined. Um, just give us a couple examples of common errors made by new members.
I think the biggest problem with new members is actually understanding what street photography is. They think if they go out and take a picture of a street, then it's street photography. I guess technically it is, but it's what I would call it street, but it's not very good street. They think that going out and taking a picture of I don't know, an animal in the street is street photography, and I think street photography is easy to do, but very difficult to do well. And I think that's what they have difficulty with. We have pictures of flowers coming up, close-ups of animals. We have landscapes and seascapes, and all these things are not street photography.
So talk about the definition of street photography. What actually is it? What definition does the group use?
The group's definition is that it is an art that includes unmediated chance encounters in a public place that may or may not include people, but should have proof of human existence. That's the definition, which is a bit long and a bit broad, but I think that sort of encompasses most things.
Talk a little bit more about this concept of unmediated chance encounters in a public place. What does that mean? Can you give a couple of examples?
Okay. Unmediated chance encounters means that it cannot be arranged. So if you take your son, your daughter, your sister, your husband out into the street and start photographing them, then that is not classed as street photography because it is arranged. You know them, you've taken them with you, and therefore it is not a chance encounter. Also, taking things like these lens balls with you. If you take one of those with you, start shooting through that. That isn't classed as street photography. We've also had one or two where they do this wire wall stuff, where they swing it round and it makes pretty like strands of light. That also isn't street photography because you've taken it with you. If you photograph someone else doing it, you just happened upon them doing it, then that is. But if you actually take it yourself and you photograph yourself doing it somehow, then it isn't. A public place is basically anywhere that the public can roam free. So I think the misnomer of street photography is that it doesn't have to be in a street. It can be in a field, it can be in the Sahara Desert, it can be in a mall, basically anywhere the public can roam freely. Taking pictures on boats would not be classed as a street because the public cannot roam freely on a boat. Basically, they tend to pay to go on a boat, and then if they take pictures of what they see, it's not street. So yeah, so public places, anywhere the public can go, really.
So a restaurant, a church, a museum, those would all be classed as street venues.
Yeah, because the public can actually roam quite freely in them, and we have accepted those sorts of images. So yeah.
Okay. So what would you say are some of the elements that go into a good street photograph? You mentioned there's a lot of street out there, but not all of it is good. What makes it a good street photograph?
I guess that's the $64,000 question, isn't it? Actually, what makes a good street photograph? Uh, I guess for me, there has to be a connection between your or the subject and the viewer. There has to, or that you need to try and get some sort of emotion in it, or evoke some emotion. There needs to be a story in there. There needs to be composition, so using frames, using leading lines, colors, juxtaposition, that sort of thing. Anything like that would actually add interest to a picture. And though it's very unlikely you're going to get all those things into one picture, which makes it quite elusive, which actually drives us street photographers on, because you're always looking for that perfect picture. It's very unlikely you're going to get them all in one picture. So you try and get as many of those as you can in a picture.
Okay.
That would then make a good or great street photograph.
Talk a little bit more about the concept of storytelling. That was something new for me when I first got into this.
Yeah, storytelling. Yeah, it's about trying to create a scene in the picture where there is a story in it. So basically interactions with, like, if there's two people, three people in there, interactions between them, there'll be a story there, a juxtaposition, where you've got like the fat man against a thin woman, or something like that, something of interest. If you've got something funny going on, a sense of humor, there'll be a story there. If you're taking a picture of something strange, I mean, one of the things I took last year, I was going through Oxford, and in the corner of my eye, I saw this man walking in the middle of the road carrying a big wooden cross. And I thought, that's a bit odd. And I took that picture. And for me, there is a story there. Why is he doing that? Where's he come from? Where's he going? That sort of thing. So a good storytelling picture should ask questions of the viewer. And if your picture asks questions, then it's usually a pretty good picture.
What about the Streetwise group? Where does that fit into all of this?
Streetwise, okay, well, the main group has been running for 6 years, I think, this year. And it was, I think, 14 months ago, we decided that we needed to try and help members who were beginners to improve their pictures, though that is actually the main driving force of the main group. We felt that we needed something a bit more. So Streetwise was got together, and we invited members who we felt needed some help into Streetwise. And then basically in Streetwise, we give them assignments to do every 2 weeks. And then they go out, they take pictures, they upload 3 pictures, and then the admins and also the other members then give feedback. We encourage people to give honest feedback. So we encourage people to ask the question, is this actually street? Is this good street? How could they improve it? These sorts of questions. And from my understanding, the members who are in that group have actually got an awful lot from that group. So it does seem to be working pretty well. So we're quite happy with the way it's going And we are actually thinking of doing a second group at the moment.
And I just want to, I can attest to that because I have learned a lot in Streetwise and really gotten a lot out of it. So, and part of not only receiving constructive criticism, but giving it as well is challenging, but it's been really useful in helping me learn. We're going to take a break right now and we'll upload some photos and then we'll be back in a couple of minutes to continue the interview with Ian.
Welcome back.
Hey, so I'd like to delve a little bit more into you and your photography. I know you got into photography because it was another door to go through, but your first experience wasn't really that good. But what has gotten you into street photography? Because it seems like it's a major thing for you now. What about it?
Yeah, for me, yeah, if I'm not doing it, I'm thinking about it. If I'm not thinking about it, I'm reading about it. If I'm not reading about it, I'm planning about it. So it's basically the only hobby that I do now. So yeah, with being retired, it gets me out. I love. I've got a couple of mates who I go around with in Manchester. And I love going around with people. I love seeing their style, how they do things, what they do, how they see what the things differently to what I see. And it's always great to actually be able to talk to someone about photography as well, because my other half isn't really interested in photography. So I have to do it when I meet up with people. So I've been doing photography, as I say, for about 40 odd years, and it's got me through some rough times. And it just keeps me going. It's the one constant thing that's there. And without it, I'm not sure what I would be doing. And street is just the new branch of photography that I'm doing. So yeah, it keeps me going. It gives me something to do. I really look forward to it. We're doing we're actually going to Venice soon, actually, as a small group. So yeah, it just keeps me going. I love sort of interacting with people and meeting other street photographers on the street. So yeah.
Uh, do you have a style in street photography?
Do I have a style? If you're asking me what I love doing, then it is obviously people. It's portraits, with or without permission. So if that's a style, then that's what I do. Um, I will walk around. I will take shots of people who I think are interesting, and if I really think that that one shot from a distance isn't quite good enough. If it hasn't captured what I've wanted to capture, then I will go up and talk to them and sort of say, do you mind if I take your picture? So yeah, it does tend to be, I suppose, faces. Faces is what I'm interested in. So yeah, people, I think.
Who are your influences in street photography?
Well, I've only started reading books and reading up about um, photographers since I started doing street, because obviously 40 years ago we didn't have the internet, we didn't have YouTube, etc. So basically what I learned, I had to learn by myself. So when I was researching for that course I was doing, I looked up people like Eric Kim, who's an Asian photographer in America. I looked up Bruce Gilden, and quickly dismissed that type of photography because I don't think I could do that. Obviously, Majevic, Martin Parr, etc. I think every time I read someone, I think I've either consciously or unconsciously pick something up about them. I've recently gone on a day course in Liverpool with a famous street photographer over here called Brian Lloyd Duckett. He's the one that wrote 52 assignments and 52 exposures. So I went on a day course with him, And his main thing is projects. He thinks everybody should be doing projects, and I guess that I do agree with that. Um, I've also been influenced a bit by Brandon Stanton, who did this book here. It's called Humans of New York, which is a very good book where he actually photographs portraits of people that he meets in New York. And he's done a full book. And I actually did my own version of that. Not quite as good as his, I will say. And it's called Mancunians on the Street, which is all about the people that I meet in Manchester. I can't sort of tell the stories that Brian does. I haven't got the names to drop as Brian does, but I really enjoy doing that, and I think I will be doing another one probably this year as well. So yeah, so if I've got influences, those would be them.
I know that street photography has a pretty long history, and it originally was mainly in black and white, but there are a lot of photographers now who shoot in color. What are your thoughts about black and white versus color?
Yeah, I mean, street photography actually started off in 1850s when a guy who was walking to his studio decided to stop and take a picture of somebody in the public. Now, obviously, in those days, the cameras were very big, the exposures were very long, so he had to actually stop and ask and tell them he was going to take the picture, or ask them to take the picture. And of course, in those days, it was black and white. And I think that if you're a purist street photographer, then you tend to shoot in black and white. And there are groups that only will accept pictures that are black and white. For me, I like to do black and white and color. I think there are some pictures that scream out for color, such as I go to Brasilica, which is a Rio Carnival. I go to Manchester Pride. I do the punks in Blackpool, and all these are very colourful events. And it would seem a crime actually to photograph those in black and white. However, there are some pictures that suit black and white better, and it would be a crime to do it in colour. So I think you have to be, for me, I'm sort of open-minded, and I think the advantage is if you do it in color, then you can always transfer it to black and white if you prefer it that way afterwards. So for me, I tend to do both.
Tell us about your gear. What cameras and lenses do you use?
My gear for street is at the moment a Sony A7 IV, which is a full frame a mirrorless camera with 33 megapixels, I think. It's got a flip LCD screen, and basically it's very light. It's very comfortable in my hand, and it's very easy to carry around. I think one of the things that it gets criticized for is all the menus. For me, I find a lot of the menus are not really needed, so I tend to sort of only use a few of them, so it doesn't confuse me quite so much. The gear I use, the lenses I use, the main go-to lens for me is a 24 to 105, and I've also got an 85 1.8. And I've just brought a 100 to 400, which I didn't really buy for street. I brought that for football, but I have used it a couple of times, and I really like the compression that it produces, and the bokeh. So I might actually use that once or twice in the near future. So yeah, that's my gear for street. But usually when I go out, I only go out with one camera, one lens.
Do you think in general there's the a better setup for street photography? Or I guess what I'm getting at, what do you think about cell phones? They're so common now, cameras on cell phones.
Well, I think for me, the best camera that you have is the one that you've got in your hand. And I've seen so many great pictures taken on phones. For me, I think whatever you choose to use is great. I think mobile phones are good. I think you can have a compact camera, a bridge camera, DSLR, SLR, medium format. It's even coming into the for a bit more now. I've seen one or two people with those. So it's whatever camera you're comfortable with, I think, is good. And just don't listen to those people who say that you've got to have the most expensive camera that you can find, otherwise you're not a photographer. Don't listen to those people, really.
Do you have a plan when you go out to shoot? What's your process?
Oh, my process. I think I don't. I might sometimes start off with a project to do, but soon gets sort of forgotten about because it really depends who's out in Manchester at the time. Um, it also depends how you're feeling as well. I think you've got to be to take good street photographs. I think you've got to be in the zone as well. And sometimes I go out a bit half-hearted, so I don't really tend to get good pictures then. But basically, I go out into Manchester twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays, and I meet up with these other two guys, and we start off with a cup of coffee. We have a chin wag and a catch up, and then we go out. We don't really go on a definite route. We do have a rough route that we always get round to, but we may just decide we haven't been down that road for a while, so we'll go down that way, and then we just walk around. Sometimes I take the lead, sometimes Eddie takes the lead, sometimes Steve takes the lead, and sometimes we just follow our noses and go. So we don't really have a plan as such. I think depending on what lens I choose, that might decide what I take pictures of. If I'm taking my 24-105, then that means I can have a bit more flexibility with what I shoot. If I take the 85mm, then it tends to be more the portraits I go for. So no, I don't really have a plan. I am a hunter rather than a fisher. I'm not really very patient. I can't stand in one place for 2 hours and wait for something to happen. But if I can see something about to happen, then I will wait for a couple of minutes and wait for all the elements to get together. But I can't wait for 2 or 3 hours anymore.
What about the controversy that comes up in the group sometimes with certain subjects? For example, photos of the homeless or political demonstrations and political issues. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Well, I mean, the group's been going for 6 years now, and I think that the biggest or the most common issue that we have is the homeless. Should we or should we not accept pictures of the homeless? My view on it is that it is unfortunate that we do have the homeless out there, but it is a part of life now. In Manchester, we have quite a lot of homeless around. I don't particularly take pictures of the homeless, but I know a lot of people do. And I think as long as they do it in a respectful way, then I can't see that there's a problem with it. So that's my view with that. I think children has also been an issue. I have taken pictures of children. More often than not, I will ask the parents' consent. I will, if the kids are, I mean, we have 1 or 2 fountains in Manchester, and sometimes you get the kids playing in the fountain, and I just think that makes it a cute picture. So with the parents there, I will just go up and say, "Do you mind if I take your picture?" And up to now, I don't think I've actually been refused. So I think it's the way that you ask, you know, rather than sort of standing in the corner with a long lens and taking sneaky pictures. I think if parents saw you do that, then they're not going to bother what the law is. They're just going to come up and give you a thump. So I think, yeah. So I would ask permission regarding political ones. Yes, as you know, that we have had one or two issues recently with people uploading political pictures. Now, for me, it doesn't tend to be the picture itself. It tends to be the text that they put with the picture that causes the issue. And that is what people seem to be offended by. I mean, we had one recently where it was a portrait of a young girl, and it had, I think, an Israeli flag on a cheek, and people just created about it. And for me, it was just a portrait. She just so happened to have a tattoo of a flag on a cheek, but for me, it was just a portrait. So yes, we do have these things, but we tend to react quite quickly and deal with it. So in the past, we've told people to re-upload the picture without the text.
What tips do you have for photographers who are new to street?
Oh, blimey. Where do I start? Let me think. I think that when I started, one of the things that I wanted to find out was the law. So wherever you are, find out what the law is. So in the UK, you are allowed to photograph anyone or anything as long as you are standing in a public place. Where you are, that might be different. So you need to find out that. I think, as I've already mentioned, don't listen to these people who tell you that you need a certain camera or a certain make of camera for you to be classed as a photographer. And don't listen to the ones who say that you've got to photograph in manual, because manual is good if you know what you're doing with it. But it can take a bit of getting used to. And I think sometimes when you're messing about with the settings, then you miss the picture. And the important thing is the picture. So whatever you're comfortable with, whether that is automatic, aperture priority, shutter priority, you stick with that. And besides, who knows what you've done unless you actually tell them. So basically, just don't tell people. I think that if you like taking pictures of people, I think there is a way to do that. And I think that a good idea is to go where it's busy. So city centres, protests, carnivals, festivals, that sort of thing. You've got more chance of getting pictures of people. I think it's about picking the right person to photograph. So people with their own sense of style, their own sense of dress, people who want to be noticed. So like the punks, like the goths, etc. People who are very smartly dressed or maybe overdressed. These people want to be noticed. So these people want to be photographed. They want you to actually take their picture. And I think that if you choose those sorts of people, then I don't think you would have a problem. The people not to photograph are those who are in a rush, those with their head down, those who aren't making eye contacts. I wouldn't actually try to ask their permission because I don't think their non-communication skills are telling you they don't want to be bothered. So it'd be a good idea not to photograph them. I think with photographing people, I think it's also one of the most important things is your attitude. It's your confidence. If you go to somebody with your eyes down, you're looking a little bit nervous, you're going to make them feel nervous and they are not going to want you to take the picture. But if you actually go to them with your eyes, you're looking in their eyes, you're confident, you've got a smile on your face, and you can talk a good talk, then I think you will be able to get the picture. Also, I think if you have a business card, so you can say, here's my business card, contact me. Or if you show them some pictures on your Instagram account, if you do that, then it makes you more of a genuine photographer, and they are more likely to accept you taking their picture. Have a chat with them. You know, this is good. So yeah, so I think those would be my tips. Also, sort of read up. You learn a lot from reading about famous street photographers by looking at pictures. I'm always looking at pictures. I'm always trying to pick up ideas. Projects is a good way to start, I think. Like Lloyd Duckett says, do projects, pick a project and try and stick with it. A project can be a simple thing where you, for that day, you go out and you just shoot yellow doors or something. Or it could be a more lengthy one where you actually do it over a year or 2 years. These people who write books, Lloyd Duckett was telling me that he's doing one and it's taking him 5 years. So the project is a 5-year project, and then he's going to write his book. So it can be just a short amount of time, or like half a day, or it could be 5 years. So and of course, if you pick something that you're interested in, so for me it will be people. I've done several ones on street, several books on street. I've done a couple on the Goths in Whitby. I've done strangers faces. I've done Manchester. So I'm always doing projects and things. So yeah, those are a few tips. So another one I've realised is if you're nervous going out taking pictures, go with somebody. I don't know what it is, but I feel more comfortable when I go out with these two guys that I go out with on a Tuesday and Friday than when I'm by myself. I seem to get better pictures. I seem to get more pictures when I'm by myself. That I'm basically quite a shy person, and I sort of make excuses as to why not to take a picture. But when I'm with somebody, then those excuses just fade away, and I will just take the picture.
Yeah, I think that approaching people or shooting strangers is an area that's hard for a lot of people, especially starting out. And people are, I think, worried about having problems.
Mm.
Have you had any dicey or challenging situations on the street?
I've been doing it for about 6 years, and I can honestly say I don't think I've personally had any confrontations. However, I have been with a group in Cardiff. I went down to Cardiff last year, and I was with these 3 or 4 guys, and this guy chose to take a picture of this young lady. She went past us and then came back and said, "Did you take my picture?" to this guy. And he said, "Yes, yes, I did." He said, "Well," she said, "Well, you're not allowed to. It's my picture." And he said, "No, it's not. It's my picture. I own the copyright of it." So she said, "Well, I don't want you to take my picture." So then he went on and said, "Well, the law states blah, 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 that you can. That's why there's CCTV around, so on and so forth." Then the boyfriend got involved, and at one point it got a little bit confrontational, but they just walked off in the end. He stuck to his guns. I was quite impressed actually that he stuck to his guns. I've not seen anyone do that before, and he was quite adamant he was not going to delete the picture. So anyway, 20 minutes later, then a copper came round and said, "It's been reported to us that you're taking pictures of strangers." So I said, "Yes, we have. Is there a problem, officer?" And he said, "No, there's no problem. You're allowed to." So I think that just confirmed what we all knew. I mean, why he had to come and tell us, I don't know. Maybe she was watching somewhere and he just felt that he needed to show that he was doing something about it. So everybody was, well, everybody except the girl was quite happy. The police were happy and we were happy. So, but me personally, no, I can't say that I've ever got into a confrontation. I think that, as I say, there are two ways you can handle it, basically. One is you can say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'll delete it now," and apologize and walk off, and then you go around the corner, you find someone else, or you can stand your ground and tell them that you know what the law is. So it depends what sort of personnel you are, really. So you'll do one or the other.
Well, Ian, this has been a very instructive and wide-ranging conversation. Been very interesting. Let's wrap up with a question about the future. What are your photographic ambitions and goals, both for yourself and for the group?
Oh, right. Ambitions. I guess my ambition for myself and the group is to actually hold a physical exhibition. So for the group, I would like to be able to print out and show their pictures, because I'm all for trying to help group members to grow and to get advertisements and whatever. And I would really love to display some of their pictures as part of the group. It would also give the group a lot of free advertising as well. And I'd like to do one for myself as well. With the group, the nearest thing that I've got is doing a virtual exhibition, which we've done for 2 years. It's on Art Placer. There is one up in fact, there's two up at the moment. One of several members, about 50 members, I think, and one of all the Masters winners. So that would be my goal. About 3 years ago, I did sort of try and price it out as to how much it would cost. And it sort of ranged from something like £1,000 to about £6,000 without printing, framing, and then doing all the work that would need to do. So I think the cost is a bit exorbitant, really, for me. To do, and then what would I do with all the pictures afterwards? So yeah, so it's unlikely that's going to happen anytime soon, but that would be the goal. Also for me, as I've said before, I actually went and did a workshop with Brian Lord Duckett in Liverpool, and that's something I've always fancied to do. Is actually having a small group of beginners who want to learn about what street photography is. It's something that I would really love to do, and to try and make a bit of money from it, so I can actually put the money back in. So I have sort of started building up to that, because, as you know, I've done video chats, etc., with members of Streetwise, where I've done a short sort of like 20 minutes, half an hour on specific topics of street photography, and I think that seems to have gone down. So yeah, I guess that's where I'm at. I do photo books, as I've said. I've done about 55 at the moment, so quite a lot. So I'll probably continue doing that. But yeah, I'd like to make some money some way. So if you've got any ideas, Sharon, where we can make money, then let me know. We do sell T-shirts, but they're not selling very well at the moment. But yeah, we do that.
Well, this has been great. Thanks so much for your time and for everything you've shared. And viewers, thanks again for tuning in. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We hope that you'll be inspired to join the group as well.
Yeah, guys. So thank you all very much. We hope that you've enjoyed it. hopefully given you one or two things to think about. Maybe hopefully you know me a little bit better now, and I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Sharon. I've really enjoyed this hour. You've given me a Spanish Inquisition. I don't think I've ever been asked so many questions about photography, so I've really enjoyed it. So thank you very much. So we'll see you all soon, hopefully. Goodbye for now.